Hey guys, I'm trying to hit 10k subscribers by the end of the year and I think we can get there with your help, so please subscribe. It would honestly mean a lot to me. Now let's go right into the stories. I walked in on my husband and sister in the act, my heart shattered. It was an ordinary Saturday morning when my life took a turn I never saw coming. I had just woken up, the soft light filtering through our bedroom curtains, and the comforting scent of coffee wafting in from the kitchen. I stretched, groggy but content, and decided to check my phone for messages. That's when I saw a text from my sister, Emma. Can you pick up some groceries on your way home? I'll be at your place. I smiled, grateful for the distraction from my chores. Mark, my husband, was in the shower, and I relished the thought of a relaxed afternoon with my sister. We hadn't had a good catch-up in ages, and I was looking forward to it. After grabbing a quick shower myself, I made my way to the grocery store, my mind buzzing with thoughts of our upcoming dinner. Emma had hinted at a new recipe she wanted to try, and I was excited to help her with it. As I drove back home, I felt a sense of anticipation. I had no idea what awaited me. When I arrived, the house was eerily quiet. I called out, "Emma." "I'm back," but received no response. Maybe she was in the kitchen. I set the groceries down and walked towards the bedroom, thinking I'd check in on her. As I approached our bedroom door, I heard laughter, Mark's voice, warm and inviting. It felt so normal. I was about to knock when I froze. The laughter turned into soft whispers, and I instinctively felt a chill run down my spine. Something was off. I pushed the door open just a crack, my heart racing. What I saw in that split second would haunt me forever. Mark was sitting on our bed, and Emma was leaning over him, her lips brushing against his cheek. Their faces were lit up with a shared secret that should have never existed. I felt like I had been hit by a freight train. The world around me faded to a dull roar, and for a moment, I couldn't process what I was witnessing. Then, reality crashed in. "What the hell?" I shouted, the words spilling out before I even had time to think. Both of them turned, shock plastered on their faces. Mark's eyes widened, and Emma froze, her mouth opening slightly as if she had no words. It was like a scene from a terrible movie, one I couldn't escape from. "Wait, I can explain." Mark stammered, scrambling to his feet. Emma shot him a look, but it was too late. I had seen enough. "Explain what?" "That you're cheating on me with my sister." I could feel the anger rising within me, a burning fury that replaced the shock. "How could you both do this?" Emma stood up, her face pale. "It's not what it looks like," she pleaded, but I could see the truth in her eyes. I shook my head, disbelief coursing through me. "Not what it looks like. It looks like you're both betraying me." Mark stepped forward, his hands raised in a placating gesture. "It's complicated, babe. We got caught up in something. It wasn't supposed to happen." "Complicated?" I laughed bitterly, the sound echoing through the room. "You're telling me that kissing my sister is complicated? What were you thinking?" Emma looked down, her cheeks flushed with shame. "I didn't mean for this to happen. It just happened, okay? We were talking, and things got out of hand." "Out of hand? You're telling me you couldn't stop yourself? You had to just go for it?" Mark was silent, his gaze fixed on the floor, and in that moment, I saw the truth. They had crossed a line that could never be uncrossed. I turned away from them, feeling suffocated by the betrayal. My heart felt heavy, as if someone had placed a boulder on my chest. I needed air. I stormed out of the house, not knowing where to go, but just needing to escape. I walked for what felt like hours, my mind racing. I was replaying the scene over and over again, trying to make sense of it all. How could Emma do this to me? How could Mark, the man I trusted with my life, betray me in the worst way possible? Eventually, I found myself at Sarah's place, my best friend since childhood. I knocked frantically, and she opened the door, her expression shifting from surprise to concern as she took in my state. "Jess." "What happened?" she asked, pulling me into a tight embrace. I caught Mark and Emma together. I struggled to find the words, the reality still feeling surreal. They were in bed together. Sarah's eyes widened in disbelief. "Oh my God, Jess. I'm so sorry." I broke down, tears streaming down my face as I recounted the events. Sarah listened intently, offering comforting words and a shoulder to cry on. I felt a mix of relief and shame, relief to have someone who understood, but shame that my life had spiraled into this chaos. As the evening wore on, I struggled with my emotions. I felt a burning anger towards both Mark and Emma, but also a profound sense of loss. My sister had always been my confidant, and Mark was my partner in life. How could they betray me like this? Eventually, I decided I needed to confront them again, but this time, I needed to do it on my terms. I returned home, feeling a mix of dread and determination. When I stepped through the door, they were still in the bedroom, the atmosphere heavy with unresolved tension. I walked in, my heart pounding. "I need answers," I said, my voice steadier than I felt. Mark looked up, his expression a mix of guilt and confusion. "Jess, please. No. I'm done with the excuses. I want to know how long this has been going on." Emma opened her mouth to speak, but I cut her off. "I don't want to hear your half-hearted apologies. I want the truth." Mark glanced at Emma, then back at me. "It started a few weeks ago. We were both feeling distant, and I guess we just found comfort in each other." "Comfort?" I spat, anger bubbling to the surface. "You think that's what this is? You both betrayed me, and you think comfort is a valid excuse?" Emma burst into tears, her guilt evident. "I never meant to hurt you, Jess. I was just so lost after the breakup with Josh. I thought I could find solace by sleeping with my husband." "That's your solace?" Mark stepped forward again, desperation etched on his face. "I'm sorry, Jess. I made a terrible mistake, but I love you. I want to make this right." The word stung. "You think saying, 'I love you,' changes what you've done? You've shattered my trust. I don't even know who you are anymore." Silence fell over the room, heavy and suffocating. I felt like I was drowning in their remorse, and I knew I couldn't stay. "I need time," I said finally, my voice breaking. "I need to figure out if I can even look at either of you again." I turned and walked out, leaving them standing in the doorway, both of them looking like the ghosts of the people I once loved. In the days that followed, I moved in with Sarah. I filled my days with work, trying to distract myself from the pain. I spoke with friends who supported me, and I leaned on the people who truly cared. I realized I was stronger than I thought I had to be. Months passed, and I began to heal. I found solace in therapy, where I learned to navigate my feelings and reclaim my identity. The scars of betrayal would always linger, but I refused to let them define me. I eventually faced Mark and Emma again, but not in anger. Instead, I sought closure. I confronted them separately, demanding honesty and accountability for their actions. I learned that while I could never erase the past, I could move forward. Mark and I agreed to separate, and I chose to distance myself from Emma. It was painful, but necessary for my healing. In time, I found new beginnings, new friendships, new hobbies, and a renewed sense of self. I had to learn to love myself again, and though the scars of betrayal would always be there, I was determined to rise above it. In the end, I realized that life would go on. I would find joy again, and perhaps even love. I was not defined by their choices, but by my resilience. I had survived, and I would thrive.